Hey, what's up, Cobra Nation? Cobra One here. So, something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Let's go over my gun collection. Right here. We got a Springfield Model 1911 A1 in the Lord's caliber. Now, when I bought this, it was used. Why? This is an old model mil spec. So as you all know, Springfield mil spec is on the market now. You know, advertised with a chrome barrel bushing, 5-inch barrel, parkerized or stainless steel. That's the new model. This is the old school model. Now, what makes this one different? Springfield logo is roll stamped into the metal versus laser edged. And on top of that, if we look right here, it says plant in Illinois, where all Springfields are produced, and Brazil Imbel. So what is this? This is an Imbel Model 1911 by Springfield. Back in the old days, they did imports from Imbel. Now, don't be fooled that it's not 100% American made. This was forged in Brazil and assembled in America. That's why there's Illinois and Imbel Brazil on here as well. It's a solid gun. So when I bought this, it had a custom grip that went all the way around. Now, my 1911 I gave to my uncle, and I gave him that grip for it as well. And what I did when I took that grip off is I bought these on Amazon. Good old USGI grips. These are rubber, so it grips really well, because I have a Smith & Wesson Model 686, so even if my hands are wet, it grips to it very nicely. We already cleared it, but we're going to do that again. Sorry, don't do this. Don't ever point a weapon at yourself, but I want to show you something. Right there, it comes with, let's see here. Can I do it? Ooh, maybe. Comes with, oh, there it is. White dots. So you just line the 3 white dots up and you're good. Which is an improvement from the old school Colt Remington model with the clip. This is way better. Though that's a classic, and nothing wrong if you have that on your 1911. So this comes with a stainless steel barrel. Nothing stays on this thing ever. It was also, because it was used, check this out. So the godly trigger of the 1911, which is glorious, as you all know. Watch this. Help if we took the safety off. So right there. I don't know if you heard that pop, but listen. Right there. I'm gonna go a little deeper. Right there. The guy who had this before me wore the sear down, so you could really get a good grip on the wall of that trigger. And then give it a little squeeze. No firearm, no handgun on earth has a trigger quite like a 1911. If there is anything that has kept this weapon in service as long as it's been in, it has been this trigger. At least one of the main reasons why is this fucking trigger. It's a beautiful weapon. I love it. Everyone always is like, oh, the Glock's better. This is the greatest automatic handgun ever made. And here's why. John Moses Browning invented this pistol. Alright, he was running different experiments, the model 1906, 07, even the model 1910. And then the final was this beautiful piece right here. That is the 1911. You know, that was the first 1911, and then World War II came and we produced the A1. Well, it was already produced in 1926, but popularized by World War II. way you could tell an A1, most and all 1911s are going to be A1s. If you find yourself a World War I 1911, oh, that's a treasure for itself. So, why is this the greatest automatic handgun of all time? 1911 was 123 years ago, and this weapon right here is still in service and to some extent in the United States military. When I was with the 101st and I was in Poland, I was with 10th Group, I was talking to the guys there, they had these in their arms rooms. Were they drawing them out? No. They were taking their Glocks, which is common. Unfortunately, that's reality. A lot of these dudes are just taking their 19s and 17 Glocks. But they have these in their arms room, and if there's an old head that just wants to carry it, they can draw it out whenever the fuck they want. Is it being swapped out, gotten rid of? Yes, but that only happened just recently. MARSOC still issues these regularly in their arms rooms. Police units in different countries are issuing this. Different militaries around the world. There is not a continent, except for maybe Antarctica, and even Antarctica might even be a shot in the dark. There has not been a continent that has not had a 1911 on its soil. This has been all over the globe. This has fought in both major conflicts, World War I and World War II. So what kept it around for so long? This is commonly known as the AR-15 of pistols. Customizations options, trigger upgrades. Like for example, look right here, upgraded the grips, but then again, you can do that on modern guns. Glocks are just there. You just kind of put grip tape on them. But that's an example. Different hammer options. You can customize it, and then there's 1911s out there now with optics plates, light rails, and people are using them in that fashion. There was a guy on YouTube who is widely hated, but I defend him because he made a point. He had a World War I issue 1911, put a custom hollowed hammer on. He milled and drilled it to accept a muzzle brake and a suppressor. Put an optics plate on it and had it to accept a light rail. That weapon was used in World War I, a war where we were still in some capacity having men charge into battle on cavalry horses with swords. The machine gun was a new phenomenon, and no one's using any guns from World War I commonly anymore. Yes, I know you in the comments, you're going to say, well, what about the Ukrainians using Maxim machine guns? When you're in a war zone, you're going to use whatever you have. But out of all that equipment, this is probably the only piece of equipment, other than the Mosin Nagant, that is being regularly issued in some capacity around the world. And he took that World War I air weapon and proved that you can use it in modern combat. That is why this is the greatest automatic handgun ever. 123 years after the 1911, to some capacity, it's being used in policing or combat or self-defense. 100 years before the 1911, we had muzzle loaders, cap and ball. 100 years before 1911, the 1851 Navy wasn't even out. I think a 6-shooter was in the process of being made by Samuel Colt. It was designed, at least. None of those guns are being used today, and if you try to use them, you're a fucking fool. Unless you're hunting with them or something. This can still be used in modern combat, and that is why it is the greatest automatic handgun of all time. To some extent, all handguns around the world base their design off of this. John Moses Browning is a gift from the Lord himself. So, that is why I have a 1911. I have many more guns, but they're all in storage. I just have one with me for personal protection. There's some issues with the 1911 though. We'll go over that real quick. It's heavy. This boy's about 5 pounds. I say just be a fucking man about it. Limited capacity and ammo. During World War I, World War II, you only had 7-round mag capacity. Now, after World War II, going into Vietnam, and my uncle who was in Special Forces even told me this, because a lot of the 1911s that SF guys had were World War II Air Remington Rands. They took those 7-round mags and they were able to get them to hold an extra round. How is that? This is an 8-rounder, so they had thick springs back then, and they just put thinner springs in, and they were able to get an extra round in. When you buy a 1911, it comes stock with a 7-round mag. Mine came with an 8, but that's because this was used brand new. My other Springfield mil-spec came with a 7. Well, that's okay. You can go to any gun store and find an 8-round mag. And that's an issue. Like, just get a couple extra rounds and you got to make sacrifices. For example, let me show you real quick. Just to pull my home defense stockpile out real quick. So, I've got different brands. This is my Chip McCormick 8s. These are my favorite 8-round mags because they're a flush fit to the bottom of the magazine. I like that. Your best bet for 1911s, for fucking anything gun related ever, it's going to be Wilson Combat. Bill Wilson makes some great Crocs. These magazines will never fail any. I had Kimber 8-round mags, which look exactly identical to the Chip McCormick 8 rounds, except one thing. They're made of cheap China metal. I went to a range when it was raining and it corroded. I took those mags out. I had my Wilson Combats. In the rain, when it got a little dirty, these kept rocking and rolling. Great magazines and the best for 1911. But one issue I don't like, and you can make fun of me for it. This. Some people like that. Some people enjoy it. I don't. I like a flush fit mag. Alright? If I'm getting an 8th round, I don't need this sticking out when this is flush fit. Now, Chip McCormick's are reliable and they won't fail, but the Wilson Combats are godly. Pick your poison. I use both. And in a pinch, if I'm in a gunfight, if I'm in a self-defense situation, I'm not going to care which mag. I'm going to get ammo. Now let's go over to the drawback. This is my Wilson Combat 10-round mag. Looks sick as fuck, right? I like that. But most modern handguns that stick out this much have a capacity of up to 21 rounds or more. Like the 6 Hour M17 comes with a 17-round flush fit mag, and then it comes with a 21-round mag, and it sticks out even less than this. So you're getting less capacity. So capacity is the biggest issue with the 1911. That's why people complain about them. But there's some drawbacks to that. We did load of mag in here. We're going to check it again. We're clear. The grip. Because double stack mags are double stack. Granted, 9mm is not that wide, especially if you get a Walther PDP. They do a real good job of those double stacks. It's sleek grip. This feels like I'm holding the pistol grip of an AR-15. It is the best grip of any handgun I've ever shot. The only thing that may be superior is a revolver grip. That's because revolvers were made to naturally contour the curvature of your hand. This does not, but nonetheless, it is still great. And that's just about it, man. Weight, capacity, and then hammer fired. Good old Gadsden Glock revolutionized striker fires around the world. To some extent, striker-fired handguns are based on the Glock. Even the Walther PDP, which I think is superior to the Glock. There are reliability issues with the hammer. There was one former Army Ranger that was in Mogadishu, Somalia, and he said that he went to go fire his 1911 after some rotor wash, dumped some dirt in here, and when he fired, he said that his hammer went halfway and stopped. That is an issue that will never happen with a striker-fired handgun, like a Glock or a Walther, or the new SIG M17. So there's drawbacks. All my piece of advice is know your weapons, carry them, and don't just have one type of gun, have many. John Moses Browning gave us a gift from God, and I love this gift. I cherish it every day, and I respect it. This is truly a handgun that shows these kids how it's done. It refuses to die. It won't quit. 70 years this served as a standard sidearm of the United States military, and then continued to serve even today, to some capacity, mind you. It's awesome, and I love it. Alright, that's another thing I want to give you guys, Cobra Nation. I'm going to be doing more gun videos. This is my Springfield 1911. I have many other guns, and I will gladly show you in the future as well, and your other Promise videos will be coming out too. Alright guys, that's it. Cobra One signing out.